Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So first order of business, I just want to say thank you to all of my subscribers. I've hit the 1,000 mark. I really appreciate it. Keep on subscribing. When I originally got on here, it was just really to help get the information out of my head and into as many people's lives as possible. So I'm just happy and I appreciate all the support and mainly that I'm helping so many people because a lot of you comment, email me and things like that to let me know how much the videos are helping. I've actually gained quite a few of you as actual clients. So thank you so much, guys. And don't mind this because people haven't asked me, what's that? Many of you probably already figured it's my mic. It's just so that I can be clearer. Maybe I need to get a wireless, listen, in time I'll update and upgrade all that stuff. So I'm sure you've seen by the title that this video is going to be about unemployment and taxes. And I actually have a PSA about overall tax filing. So make sure you stay tuned and watch the whole video. If you see me looking down from time to time, it's because I have my notes. For those of you who don't know me, and if this is like your first time finding me, my name is Tasha. I am an accountant, tax strategist, and business consultant / business builder. Okay. I help entrepreneurs and individuals all across the United States. All right. So the first thing I want to talk about, I should mention, well, I'll put the how you can reach me in my description box below, but I'm known on Instagram and YouTube as Entrepreneur Help Desk. On Facebook, I go by my business name, which is Hconnections, LLC. Okay. So now I want to just first get into like all the questions that have been coming in. Okay, so one question someone sent was, how will unemployment affect my tax filing? Okay, so first of all, that's a multiple answers here. It's going to affect your tax filing in a couple of ways. First of all, it's taxable income. It does have to be reported. Some people were getting confused thinking that if they only collected unemployment, like, do they even have to file because they didn't work? Or some people who are self-employed and they didn't really earn too much money from the business this year, from the services and products they provide. Do they still file? Yes, you do, because unemployment does need to be reported. Okay, so that's the main thing. That's how it affects your taxes, because it has to be filed and claimed. Now, another question is, will I get a refund if I was on unemployment? That is like, it's not really a flat yes or no answer because it depends on a couple of things. As I just mentioned, it has to be reported along with all your other income. So in terms of will you get a refund or not, it just kind of depends on how it's going to work out with the other income you have coming in from other sources. And, and if enough taxes came out and things like that, that's what's really going to determine. Because also with unemployment, certain things that you may be qualified for before, you won't now. For example, you have some people who sometimes qualify for earned income credit. Anything that you got on unemployment is not earned income, so you're not going to be receiving that credit for the unemployment. Okay, earned income credit is strictly for income you earn, whether it's from a job or from working for yourself or owning your own business. Okay, so that's, hope I answered that. Now, another question said, someone asked, how much taxes do you pay on unemployment? That also depends because it's like really like no flat amount. It has to tie into all your other income that you earn. Once again, everything has to be collected together to figure that out in terms of how much you pay on unemployment. A lot of that depends on your tax rate. There's so many factors that go into that. So there's really like no one set amount. The best thing I could tell you is once your return is all pulled together, all the information, all the numbers, then you can see if how much you're going to owe, because that's the thing, guys. The next question was, is it better to have taxes withheld from unemployment? Yes, it is. Like any of my clients who have reached out to me to ask me, hey, what am I supposed to do? I said, have them take out the taxes from the unemployment, because what you don't want to do is have to owe at the end when it's time to file. Okay, so yeah, it's better to have it withheld up front. And that's another reason why I'm bringing it up, because some people are still filing, and now with the stimulus and everything coming out, and I'm not really going to get into stimulus in this video because so much is just going on in terms of they like just settled on some things, and people have already started receiving their $600 and stuff like that. So I don't really want to get too much into that. I just want to stick to the focus of what I came on here to talk about. But I'm just speaking on the in terms of the continued unemployment under the second stimulus that came out, the stimulus program. If you're going to now be filing and you're wondering, should you have taxes withheld? Yes, you should, because if you were already collecting and you haven't been having them take out, your chances are you're going to owe taxes on that. So a lot of people are going to be in for a big surprise, unfortunately. Okay. Now, another question was, how do I make changes to my unemployment withholding? So it's kind of like similar to like when you're making changes with your payroll, right? With unemployment, you would have to log into your portal or wherever where you claim the unemployment benefits, your dashboard or whatever, and there's going to be somewhere in there that you can indicate, first of all, that you want taxes to come out. I don't really know if there's an option. Someone would have to tell me, but I don't really know if there's an option where you can give like an exemption amount, like, you know, when you're doing your payroll, if you're claiming 1 or 2, even though they don't do that anymore for federal purposes. But yeah, I don't think there's a way to do that on unemployment. You just kind of have to indicate if you want taxes withheld or not, and at what rate, in terms of like if you're married, single. I'm just kind of speculating, guys. You guys can comment below if I'm saying something wrong, but what I'm saying is there is a way to indicate in your dashboard what you want in terms of taxes withheld or not. Okay. And I just want to piggyback to something I just said about the exemptions that are no longer allowed. That's like, if I'm sure everyone by now has realized, like, all of the W-4 forms for payroll have changed, because you no longer can say if you want to claim 1, 2, 3 and things like that. But it hasn't changed on the state side. So just, at least not yet. I don't really think all the states will ever convert to that, but just be mindful that you're still able to claim exemptions from a state level. Like, I'm here in New York, and yes, you can still claim 1, 2, 3, whatever, how many exemptions you're claiming in New York, and a lot of other states still have it like that. So hopefully that clears that up. Okay, now I wanted to get to, so that was like pretty much all the unemployment questions. If there was something I didn't cover, feel free to comment. I do try and go back. Sometimes it takes a minute, but I do, and I'm about to get like super busy with tax filings, but I do try to go back into the comments and, you know, answer people and things like that, or do like this. I just kind of collect all of the questions and then just come on here and do a video. So it's good when you guys comment. But what I also wanted to get to, because I'm watching my time over here and I'm really trying not to hold you guys too long, but I did want to get into the PSA, as I said in my title, my PSA about filing income taxes, okay? Because it's really important. You guys really need to hear what I'm going to say about these tax filings, because every year it's just like people are all over the place with everything. So, okay. Now, first of all, I want to say your mindset, and I'm like so serious, okay? When I say your mindset when it comes to these taxes is because a lot of people complain about certain things, but they have no desire to learn strategies that can change or improve your situation. And like, that's just really what it is. It's your mindset. Like, you don't really have an interest or desire to learn, but then like, don't complain because if you're not willing to learn to implement things that can change, like, I don't know, like what's the complaints for? And then I also have people who have no desire to learn about the tax laws that apply directly to you and how things may have changed. Because guys, tax laws change every year. Like, I just finished my continuing ed, which I have to do every year. I'm part of the IRS. They call it the annual filing season participant or something. Like every year, I'm required to fulfill a certain amount of continuing education credits, certain amount of hours. We have to go over so much. And then on top of that, in New York, I'm a registered tax return preparer, so I have more hours to fulfill with them. I also offer bank products for people who do like the rapid and stuff like that. I have a certain amount of training I have to do with them, and then I have to pass exams for all of that stuff. So I'm just saying to say, like, it's a lot of information for me to take in, and it's not like I'm going over every single law, but it's just like the core things. But what people should be willing to do, at least my suggestion is that with the changing tax laws and things that are going to apply to you, kind of make an effort to like take a minute and learn about what's going on for your situation to the best of your ability. Okay. So I have that note. And then sometimes you have people literally just like throwing up their hands, like they just out of frustration. And that's, again, it's the wrong mindset to have with your taxes. Like the taxes aren't going anywhere. So like throwing up your hands is not going to make the problem go away or make it better. Okay. Now, my other part of my PSA, my rant. Okay. Who are you listening to? All right. When it comes to these taxes, what I mean by that is like, first of all, unknowledgeable people about the taxes. I call it like the blind leading the blind, because you have people out here, with all due respect, who don't really know what they're talking about, but they're telling people other stuff and things like that, especially like these adulting up kids. You know, you have adults. I've heard the horror stories. Parents will come to me like, someone told my child they can get all of this money, they can get this refund, and my child went filing their own income tax return and messed me up because now I can't claim them. And I'm like, oh my God, like, why are these people out here as a blind leading the blind, telling these adulting up kids that they have an opportunity to get this huge refund? Like, they have no idea what they're talking about. So I'm just saying, like, I hope you guys like aren't doing that. Like, stop listening to people who don't know what they're talking about, trying to tell you something about tax situations. Okay. I also have in my notes here, like, listening to other people who don't understand your circumstances. Sometimes I have to go to bat with some of my clients because they're like, well, so-and-so told me this and so-and-so told me that. And I'm like, hold up. But I'm a tax professional. They're telling you something about somebody else's situation or their situation, which is not yours. Like, everything is different. I don't even care if you have like two people who earn the same money, maybe both have two kids or whatever, and then they're comparing one result to the other. Every situation is different, guys. I cannot stress that enough. So please don't be like, don't just save yourself the headache. Okay. Now I also want to say in a reverse, who are you influencing with your own lack of tax knowledge? Okay. Like, are you misinforming your kids about situations? Because now that I'm doing more like generational taxes, I've been doing taxes for so many years, and some of the children of the parents who are now like 19, 20 and things like that, now they're having little filings, you know, they're coming with all their questions. They're like, well, my mom or dad, my dad said this, and I'm like, I know they mean well, but no, that's not how it goes, or that's not how this goes. And so please don't, please don't like misinform your kids if you barely have a full understanding of what's going on with these tax laws and what applies to them and what doesn't. Okay. I also want to say, please stop bringing old news into new situations, meaning like whatever was going on last year, the year before, you know, you have people, oh, well, why did this year, you know, every year, you know, I hear all of us tax professionals, we'll hear, so, well, why this year is this different? Or why that year? Well, what about? Because tax laws change every year. That's why. Okay. And circumstances change every year. You have different life events that's going to cause things to be different. Okay. You have people whose incomes are changing. They're increasing prayerfully, right? They're increasing, some are decreasing. You have child dependents who are getting older. So as your child dependents get older, you're losing credits that you no longer qualify for. So it's going to be, if it was refunds, you're going to be getting reduced refunds. And if it was that you usually owe and now you owe more, well, if you lost some credits that you usually get for that child who turned a certain age, yeah, your tax liability is going to go up. You also have children attending college. Some of you are going back to school. People are purchasing homes. And I also want to mention, speaking of purchasing homes, when people purchase a home, I like to, I know I shouldn't say the term like wrong time of year, but because when you need to purchase your home, it is what it is. But when, from a tax perspective, when I say the wrong time of year, is because people have it in their head, oh, I'm a homeowner now, I get to write off these the property taxes. Maybe they bought their home in like October or September and they had like 3 or 4 months of property taxes. And then when it's time to file their taxes, they don't meet the qualification to itemize, which I need to do a whole other video about itemized deductions versus claiming a standard deduction. But for this video purpose, when people do that, like buy their home like in September, October, whatever, they only paid a few months of property tax. So they're not going to meet the qualification to claim the property tax on itemized deductions. So they got to go with the standard, and they're like, but I was told if I become a homeowner, I can write this off. I'm like, but it's the time of year that you bought the house. That's why you only paid 2 months of a property tax. So no, it's not going to kick you into being able to itemize. Okay, so I'm just explaining again more, circumstances that stop bringing the old news into the new situation. People are selling homes, people are getting married, people are getting divorced. So when you have people who are filing joint, of course, and now you're not, and situations change, again, circumstances change. Some people are becoming new parents. People have relocated. And speaking of relocating, guys, when you do relocate, you may have to, depending on, again, timing of year, the time of the year, you may have to file in 2 states, as a part-year resident in one state and as a part-year resident in the other state. So again, different things change, different circumstances and different filings, okay? And speaking of, if you did move, you need to update your address with the IRS, especially like with all the stuff that's going on, notices coming out, stimulus situations, whatever. You always want to make sure your address is up to date. Even if you're doing like the moving thing with the post office, still you need to file the change of address form with IRS, okay? Some people were unemployed. Some people have debt cancellations. Speaking of debt cancellation, guys, make sure you go back to my channel, look through my videos. I do have a video on here for debt cancellations and how it affects your taxes. That's really important. A lot of people don't think of these things. When you cancel a debt, that's called a 1095-C. Okay, you're going to be issued that. So that's going to affect your taxes. Okay, so I'm almost finished, guys. I know I've been on here for a minute. All right, I want to talk about pre-tax prep. And here's what I'm talking about. Like, I call my season when it turns like November, December, I'm in like pre-tax season mode, okay? What you guys should do is kind of consider like the same thing, like pre-tax prep. Here's what's important. You really got to sit and think about everything that took place last year and how those things may have an impact on your taxes, such as those life events I just mentioned. But you also need to think about stuff like, what were your income sources? Like, did you have one job? Did you have more than one job? I'm sure lots of you have already gone through situations where you had already filed your taxes, and then like a couple of weeks later, another W-2 comes in, or this 1099 come in. You forgot about this bank interest. You forgot about this. You forgot about that. Kind of sit down and try, or look through bank statements, see where income came in from, because that's important. Were you working like a side gig? Did you do for a couple of months some Uber, some Lyft, or there's so many of those type of gig economy things now. all right, where you could have had some type of, side income. Did you start a business? Did you start a second business? Like, all of this plays a role, guys, on how things can change. And speaking of business tax filings, in my description box, I'm going to put a link to my course, because I have a really important course that you guys should definitely take. It's called How to File Taxes as Self-Employed. And it's less than an hour. It's only $27. And it just really explains a whole lot and answers a lot of questions, because a lot of people get really confused about a lot of things when it comes to taxes and business. So even if you're using a professional like me or you're trying to do your own, you need to take that course, okay? You also have situations, I call it like, did you ghost your business? Meaning some people literally just walk away, and you can't just walk away. There's certain exit steps that have to take place when you're shutting your business down, or like when you do wish to officially close it. You can't just, oh, well, no, I didn't make any money. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. So I don't need to file. I don't need to do this. No, there's a lot of loose ends that have to be tied up. And that reminds me, I may want to do a future video on that. So guys, like, take time out to get your bank statements organized, and not just for business owners, because let me tell you, that head of household filing status, IRS, we professionals get notices all the time. Like, they're beginning to have a lot of issues with the head of household filing statuses. They want you, some people have been receiving letters. They want to see proof. Like, what are you paying to prove that you're head of household? Show us your rent payments. Show us your mortgage payments. Show us your grocery, not receipts, but like your debit transactions on your bank statement. So these are the kind of things, guys, that you really need to be keeping organized. And especially you business owners out there, freelancers and side hustlers and everything like that, you definitely want to be organized with your financial transactions, your expenses. One of the things I talk about in that course I told you, in my course, How to File Taxes as Self-Employed, a bonus that you get is called Business Tax Deductions Explained. And I go into a lot with that, okay? Other circumstances that change. And I know this is a long PSA, but I'm just trying to help enlighten you guys to clear up so much confusion. Like, did your child earn income from working a part-time job? They're gonna probably need to file depending on how much it is. Maybe they won't. But then you have certain situations where some of the parents' income have dropped so low, you may not even be able to still claim them as a dependent. So there's a lot going on with that. Did you withdraw money from your retirement? All kinds of things. And I'm not going to get into too much more because I didn't realize how long my notes were. But one of the last things I do want to mention is even childcare expenses, okay? They're starting to crack down on that too, because there's so much fraud going on out here, guys, with all kind of stuff. There was a time when they used to accept handwritten receipts when you said you had childcare. That doesn't count anymore. And I also have a video on here on my channel where I tell you how to prove, I go into depth how to prove your childcare expenses. So make sure you check out that video, because it's really important to get yourself prepared in case they challenge you, okay? Other circumstances that may have happened this year. Did you invest money? Did you buy Bitcoin? So, these are all the pre-tax prep steps that you all should really take, because it's a lot going on with these taxes, okay? And this way, if you just, once it all gets worked out, you kind of want to do some forward thinking and say, okay, if I am going to owe, how am I going to pay? Depending on how much I owe, will I be able to pay it all at once? Am I going to do installments? Am I going to need to borrow money, use credit cards? And so that's, you kind of want to do some forward thinking. And even if you do a refund, which hopefully you will be, but refunds are not always the best thing. I know, and I'm really the GOAT at preparing these taxes and making sure you get the best results on your tax return when it comes to refunds or owing money. But what I'm saying is, the reason why I say getting a refund is not always a big deal, even though I know everybody wants it, is because all that really means is that you overpaid throughout the year and they giving you back they're like, okay, here, take this back because you gave us too much. So that's what the refund really is, to be honest, except when it comes to like credits that you qualify for. But if you are going to be doing a refund, you know, how are you going to spend it? Like, are you going to pay down some debt? Are you going to catch up on some overdue bills? Buy something that you've, you know, buy something maybe that you had your eye on or whatever. So, you know, just kind of do some forward thinking. So that's pretty much all I wanted to say, guys. And let's see, I think that was it. Yes. That's everything. And I do thank you guys for watching. I'm going to continue rolling out some more educational courses. I'm like revamping my site. If you go to my website, it's still being worked on, but I'm just adding so much more content on there just to help you guys. And let's see what else. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, I've ran my mouth enough. I really thank you guys for watching. Oh, and I was going to say, keep the questions coming, okay, because that's what helps me get on here and create this great content for you guys, as well as, like I said, the more courses that I'm going to be doing. I talked about the courses that I have so far. And another course I have before I go is, if you are an independent hairstylist or even a booth renter, like a bar, you know, a barber who rents a booth inside a shop or whatever, you definitely should. I'm gonna leave the link in my description box to a separate course that I have just for you guys, which teaches you all about taxes and business when it comes to being, you know, a hairpreneur. I'll just call it hairpreneur. Not even just hairpreneur, but people who just work in that industry overall and have situations where they're like renting a booth or not renting a booth or even working independently. Okay, so I thank you guys for watching, and if you don't already subscribe, please be sure to do so. And thank you, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.